Can you go into something you said? You were going into men and women's greatest enemies. You talked about men's greatest enemy being cowardice.
Yeah.
Can you go into that?
Sure. I think that in many respects, everything that a man wants, at least in the game of mating and dating, lives on the other side of fear. And men are afraid of approaching women. They're afraid of approaching women given some of the cultural moments that we're passing through, like Me Too, especially in San Francisco. Where
I can imagine.
Yeah, it's the hotbed of progressive
By the way,
ideology.
my friends who are strippers here make more money when they go to SF than any other place.
No kidding.
Because the women are not here. A woman is not chastised for being attractive or wearing less clothes or going out and having a bikini body and having long. Women are not chastised for that here. In San Francisco, it seems like they are a little bit more. And so these men who are consistently seeing women who are not quite at the same level, they go to the strip club and it's like girls from Las Vegas, and these girls are like, I'm making 5 times as much in San Francisco as I would in Las Vegas.
I don't know if they're chastised. That might be their experience.
Yeah.
But it certainly isn't the vibe.
Yeah.
But you could clean up as a feminine woman in San Francisco.
Yes, exactly my point.
You could clean up as a masculine man in San Francisco as well. It's so easy to be the best dressed man in a room in San Francisco.
I've noticed that, because living here where like fitness is a big thing, there's a lot of fame. Obviously you have the strip. Then I go back to a place like Boston where again, similar to San Francisco, but just on the East Coast, it is very easy to clean up there. If you're a feminine woman or you're a masculine man.
Absolutely. Especially if you're straight, like the best dressed, best looking guys in San Francisco, 9 out of 10 of them are gay, and they kind of compete with themselves. It's a hotbed of competition there.
Yeah,
it's a pretty interesting microcosm. But if you're a straight guy, very easy to clean up in San Francisco. But there might not be the kinds of women that you might want in terms of your optionality.
Yeah, absolutely.
But cowardice is overcoming that fear, and there is something that I think is inherently off-putting about female rejection, because female rejection in a sexual context is associated with reproduction and survival of one's genes. So when a woman is saying no to a guy, she's functionally saying on some level, I don't think that you should reproduce.
Right.
Like you should go extinct.
Yeah, what an insult.
Your genes are getting weeded out of the
pool. Like what you got probably doesn't deserve to continue to exist much longer. Like that's not what I think the vast majority of women intend.
Cognitively, they don't think that. Subconsciously, maybe that's what they
potentially they do, or they think that, okay, well, there's going to be some other woman potentially who wants this, but like it's cuts very deep for men.
Yeah.
And the first cut is always the deepest. The second cut is probably the second deepest. And after you get cut a few hundred times, you start to develop a callus around that attribute of your consciousness. And you realize that it's just information and it's just a game.
You mentioned 100 rejections. At that point, it's just information. I told that to my clients as soon as I heard that. What a great way to look at it when you talk about it was pain, personal, and I forgot what the third one was.
Permanent,
and how these things. Now, after a while, the rejection, you start to understand this woman who doesn't even know you, who rejected you. It can't be personal because she doesn't even know you.
Of course.
And the pain starts to go away. And then when you talk to the guys who are really successful with women, you say, what were you like in your 20s? You're like, I was getting rejected too. Before I was famous, I was getting rejected too. And then you start to resonate with that and be like, oh, this is just a part of growth.
And let's be clear that even if you are a high status famous guy, doesn't mean that you never get rejected either.
Yes.
James Bond gets rejected in his own movies sometimes, especially the Daniel Craig one.
Yeah.
So that's something like the best men are generally the best baseball players. They still strike out more than they get hits.
Yeah.
But you can kind of move the needle as a game of statistics over hundreds and hundreds of playthroughs. But absolutely, think about it like kids when they're on a playground. You have a ball, you want someone to play with. Hey, you want to play catch? No, I want to play foursquare. The kid doesn't just like fall into a puddle of tears.
Yeah.
He just says, oh, okay, do you want to play catch? You do? Hey, great. Get over. You just keep moving until you find someone that wants to play with you.
That's one thing. I felt excluded in some groups in high school when I got to UT Austin. No matter what I was into, there was a group of people that were into video games or football or whatever. It was because there was just so much more of an abundance, me living in the largest dormitory in North America.